Hey guys, F.O.O.L here. You've probably heard the Grand Champ discussion before. GC is too easy. Low GCs are so bad this season. And the opposite viewpoint that GC is already so high that most people won't reach it. I'm not the first person to make a video about it, but every season when Psyonix releases the rank distribution and the amount of Grand Champs is at an all-time high, the same arguments flare up again. I wouldn't be making this video if it wasn't for this one important detail. Most arguments I've heard, with either conclusion, are just an opinion stated from a certain point of view. I am going to attempt to start from neutral ground and use deductive reasoning to show why the current system is objectively poor. There are two fundamental premises I'm going to use. Your rank is meant to be a rough representation of your skill level in that game mode. And players should be able to use ranks as a target to reach for, because it turns abstract improvement into a tangible goal. I've tried to make these points as neutral as possible. These are from a game developer's point of view. They seem like reasonable targets to set before you go about implementing a rank-based ranked system into a game. If you don't agree with these ideas, please go into the comments and lay out why you think ranks shouldn't be a representation of skill, or what leads you to believe that ranks aren't good targets for players. Alright, assuming you agree with the premise, we can say that players of a higher rank than you should usually be better at the game mode than you, and players of a low rank should be worse. The way the Rocket League ranked system works is through a so-called MMR, matchmaking rating, which is based on your past wins and losses against other players. This video is not meant to be a discussion of how well MMR works, as that could be an entire topic of its own. So we're going to assume for now that it works reasonably well. The ranks that you see in the game work by grouping players of a certain MMR range into a certain rank. For example, in 2v2, a player with a rating between 1088 and 1187 will be Diamond 3. This is a range of 100 MMR, but not every rank is exactly the same size. At the gold ranks, the range is only around 60 MMR. That is a bit tighter, but they're in a similar ballpark. The two ranks that are completely different are Grand Champ and Bronze 1. These ranks are unbounded because, at least in theory, you can get infinitely high and infinitely low MMR. In reality, we have seen some players with an MMR as high as 2400, which gives Grand Champ a range of almost 900 MMR. The rank Grand Champ won't tell you anything about what end of that MMR range a player is on. This makes it, without a shadow of a doubt, a really poor indicator of skill. Ergo, our first premise isn't fulfilled. Let's go with the second premise. Players like to set ranks as goals because they turn something abstract, meaning skill, into something tangible, an icon on your screen. There are countless examples of players posting online what rank they want to reach in the new season, and things like that. For some, reaching the highest rank is the ultimate goal. Once you've reached the highest rank, and do so comfortably, you don't have any more ranks to push for though. There is no rank above. Getting top 100 can be seen as similar to a rank, because it's a clear number, and having your name on the leaderboard is a tangible goal for many. The problem is that the leaderboard can sometimes be over 500 MMR away from a player that has just reached Grand Champ. That kind of MMR difference is like saying to a Diamond 1 player that they should aim for Grand Champ next. It simply isn't a good goal, because there are multiple echelons of skill in between. Now, the most obvious goal would be to aim for a specific MMR number, and that is what most people end up doing. But MMR is less tangible than a rank. You might not care personally, but why would you as a dev add the rank-based system in the first place if a number is the same? So now that we've talked about how the premises fail at the Grand Champ rank, what could be done to fix that? A common, rather simple idea is to add another rank at 1700. This would be objectively better, following the premises, than what we have right now, as the rank above and below would be a more accurate representation of skill, and goals would be closer for a 1500 player to reach. However, the only true solution in mind of the premises would be to introduce even more ranks so there aren't any big gaps in between ranks. And lastly, no big gap between the highest rank and the top 100 leaderboard, even at the end of the season. This will mean that early in the season, there will be less than 100 people in the highest rank, but this isn't bad regarding any of the premises. Warning, this is where I will stop arguing from only my initial assumptions and some personal opinion will leak in. I've heard one too many times the arguments that current GC is already difficult to achieve and less than 1% of the players have it. If you were to make it even higher, it would be unachievable by a quote-unquote normal person. I can't help but feel like this is usually a very selfish statement. If you look at the broad player base, there are always going to be players that play so little that Grand Champ will be unachievable, and players that play just enough for whom getting it is a great achievement. It doesn't matter how low you put it. Really, you should put it at Plat, which would actually allow more players to get the highest rank. Isn't that great? If you don't agree, then why do you think Grand Champ should be below the absolute top? The lower you put it, the more people are affected by the downsides. But no matter how high you put it, anyone who may not be able to get the highest rank will still have some rank in front of them to push for. Don't get me wrong, I don't think it's an easy task for Psyonix to fix this issue, nor is adding more ranks a solution to everything, but that doesn't warrant burying the head in the sand. Here are some of the issues they might encounter. Lots more ranks would maybe require some more rewards. Having items for very few people at the top might seem like a waste, but it is also a sure way to make people grind to the top. You could also put out top 100 titles with the exact leaderboard place. Even just showing the current placement on top of the Grand Champ icon in matches might help. If you can get high-level players more motivated, this could actually improve their queues and therefore matchmaking all by itself. With content creation being so prevalent these days, the opinion of high-level players will also affect the rest of the population, even if they're not directly affected. Giving incentives at the top could cause more players to smurf and maybe even win trade. But the solution shouldn't be to do nothing so that no one cares enough to do it. The next issue would be where to put new ranks. Moving players around is going to create confusion among the casuals that are all of a sudden seeing a different rank. I think that the less casual players would be more likely to read up on blog posts and be more understanding of the situation. So the easiest way to get 4 extra ranks would be to introduce Diamond and Champ 4/5. An extra Master tier between Diamond and Champ would get you 3 extra ranks. You could also try expanding the leaderboard downwards to close the gap there. I'm generally very skeptical of that though, because the larger the top gets, the more abstract the number becomes. Being the 439th ranked player just doesn't have that great of a ring to it. Lastly, there's the aspect of inflation. No matter what system you end up using, inflation can ruin it. Therefore, even though it's difficult, it's very important to analyze the data every season to adjust players' MMR on the soft resets by the right amount, or maybe even add MMR decay at the top, so that at the end of the day, whatever idea you set out for the ranks actually roughly matches their reality. Alright, I'm very excited to hear what you guys think in the comments. Maybe you have some great ideas to solve some of these issues. I purposefully avoided going into detail about how the MMR works, what causes inflation, and the controversial topic of hard resets, as I think the rank issues would exist without those other issues. Let me know if you want me to make a video on those topics too. If you enjoyed the video, please share it and subscribe. To stay up to date, follow me on Twitter or join my Discord. Shout out to my patrons who support me financially. And I'll see you soon for the next video.